God, do I get to take this off? It is
No.
digging into my head.
No.
Oh,
Jiroc didn't say that the recording was done. Keep it on.
Forehead.
Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Hey everybody, today is January 3rd, 2023. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Gwen the Shield Maiden.
Hello.
We also have Shield Maiden, Morning Darkness.
Yes.
And we have Bambi the Shield Maiden.
Hello there.
And I just want to go back before we continue to the princess wave. Can we see that one more time, Gwen?
I've practiced all my life to be a Disney princess.
You were doing that on stream the other day, too.
Was I?
Well, your sister did.
Oh, yeah, she might have.
So, Gwen, what's the story behind the tiara there?
There isn't. It's just that a lot of my hats are summer hats. And I was like, it doesn't feel appropriate to wear a summer hat the first week of January. So I was like, oh, I'm going to change it up. Instead of having a hat, I'm going to wear another headpiece that I have lying about. I didn't buy this. I think, as I was telling you guys before, I think it's a child one because it's so small and so tight. And I don't know how it came into my possession. I think it was another like house party I hosted and someone left part of their costume behind. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll have a tiara then.
Cool,
As you do.
Well, it's a good celebration, a good way to break in the new year, 2023.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted something like flashy to, for good luck for the year.
And
how about you? What about your hat?
Oh, yeah. See, check that out.
Yeah, nice.
Cowboy hat. I picked this up in Nashville.
Ooh.
Actually, yeah.
Fancy.
Very fancy. It's another straw hat. I actually have another cowboy hat that I got that was very expensive, but I'll reveal that. It was so nice. I had it shipped instead of bringing it home on the plane with me. I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I just had them ship it to me. So I'll be getting it here hopefully by the end of the week. And maybe I'll share that one here when I'm feeling fancy. Because it's a fancy hat.
How do you store all your hats? Do you have like a whole, like how do you call them? A closet dedicated to your hats with headstands?
I have, let's see, point to it. Right behind over my left shoulder is a bookshelf. And it's pretty tall. It's probably about 5-6 feet tall. And no, I took out all the books long time ago, and now it has a bunch of hats in there, mostly the smaller hats. And then up on the wall over there, I have hooks and nails, and they're just like in rows. I have probably I haven't worn a lot of ball caps. I have lots of ball caps. Eventually, I'll have to start wearing some of my ball caps, but yeah, these fancier hats, they have to go in bigger spots. But yeah, probably a good 30 or 40 hats just in this room here.
Oh, wow. It's nice to have them on display, though, because otherwise you kind of forget that you have them.
Yeah, I definitely forget. And I have so many ball caps that I went through all my ball caps. Every once in a while, I go through the ones that I don't wear and try them on. Not really loving this one. And so I have a box too in the garage of ball caps that like they just don't make the cut anymore.
That's funny. We need to give you a headstand, but have a fake beard on the headstand and sunglasses as well. So that you've got a Jiroc head for your hat of the week.
Oh, that's funny. I have this really great graphic of a beard. It's like this bright orange beard, and it's meant for like a St. Patrick's Day t-shirt. And you could do all these fun sayings around the beard. And I was trying to figure out how can I make that a a Valheim or like a Viking t-shirt, right? Like a Viking themed t-shirt. I didn't really know what to do with it, but what you just said gave me the idea of just putting some sunglasses right above it and a little cowboy hat picture right above it. And then there you go. Hat, sunglasses, and beard. That's it. That's the t-shirt.
With give him the business inscribed around it. Nice.
There you go.
So did everybody have a good holiday and New Year celebration?
Oh yeah, Happy New Year. We forgot to say Happy New Year, did we? Did we say Happy New Year?
We said it before we started recording to each other.
Happy New Year, Valheim family.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Well, to start with my first big announcement, today is, well, as I said, January 3rd, but by the time this podcast comes out, 3rd, 4, 5, 6. Is the 6th? Yeah. The 6th will be the podcast release date, but that's 1 year. This is our 1 year anniversary episode because we launched our first episode on January 7th of 2022.
Yay!
1 whole year of podcasting. Wow.
Insane.
Yeah.
I like to mention how this podcast came to be.
Yeah.
It was basically Gwen. You have Gwen to thank. Do you remember
my
Gwen?
idea?
Well,
No.
yeah.
I remember discussing it as we were just chatting and we were like, I think I remember vaguely.
Well, yeah. So
Want me to tell the story?
Well, years ago, I did a sort of a movie podcast with a couple of filmmaking friends of mine. It was probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. We did it for a full year and then we retired it because it wasn't getting, back then we didn't have the easy way to get the podcast out. And I didn't even think to put the whole podcast on YouTube. We were just doing all the work to manually put it out on the internet and rent a server to host the podcast. And so it was costing money. We were having fun with it, but it wasn't really doing much. And I thought, well, a year, just like it's not doing anything. We'll move on to something else. And then I think I mentioned to you that I had done a podcast before. And I think you said something like we should do a podcast. Why don't you tell me what you remember about it?
I remember that back in the day, we were chatting very often because we were adminning the servers, I guess. And every time we'd chat, we'd had like hour-long conversations. Hours worth of conversations with at the time it was with Talkers and some of the other founders, and every time we were just chatting about Valheim, just talking about random stuff that we liked in the game, things we wish we had, and we were just like spending hours and hours talking about Valheim, and you kept saying, I wish I could record this discussion because this would make for good like video content, like people might be interested in hearing what we're saying. And so I was like, maybe people would be interested, and maybe it would be like good audio content. And I think that's how the idea of a podcast kind of grew.
Yeah.
But did you think that we'd hold up a whole year of podcasting when we started?
I kind of did, just because of how active and friendly the community is. I remember you saying, I don't know if there's going to be enough content to talk about. After a few episodes, we'll probably go over everything. What are we going to talk about? Do you remember that? You like being worried that we'd have enough to talk about?
Yeah, because a weekly, I think we had that discussion of, do we want to make it weekly, bi-weekly? And I was like, is Valheim going to produce enough content for us to talk about on a weekly basis? But here we are. We always mostly find new things to talk about.
Well, we rehash old ground every once in a while as we
no one notices.
Yeah, and new listeners, they forget. Short-term memory, like a goldfish, right? Actually, it's funny. So I listen to a lot of science podcasts, and one of my science podcasts just recently talked about how they've done a bunch of tests with goldfish, and goldfish remember actually quite long. Then they like a week. Over a week ago, they had trained them that if they go to a certain thing in a tank, they get food. And so a week a week later, they stuck them into the tank and to see if they would remember. And they just went right to the thing where they got the food. Like they remembered a week later. So that's not real. That goldfish memory thing's not real.
Okay, let's keep it with Dory then. Yeah, from Nemo.
Yeah.
She's a reference point for fish in general and memory.
Let's see. So obviously I just came back from vacation, and I don't know if anybody had a chance to listen to that video. I know the audio wasn't very good because I was outside and there are a lot of city noises, but I was up several floors at a hotel. And so whatever city noises were going on at the time, there's one point in the video where a car drives by with a super loud muffler that's kicking back.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's kind of like startled me. I was like, what the heck is that? Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom.
It was cold there too.
Oh, it was so cold. Yeah. It was funny. When we got there, they had this really rare cold front that came in and it snowed. So on Christmas evening, when we arrived, we landed on Christmas Day. We had a white Christmas, and I haven't had a white Christmas in forever because I live in California. We don't get snow here. Right? Morning.
Nice.
So yeah, it's my first white Christmas in almost 25 or more years. I lived in Washington State a long time ago, and we had them there. But yeah, so that was cool, and it was like when we first landed, it was 19 degrees out. And by the end of the week, I was walking around in a t-shirt because it was 67 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
Gwen's like, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like -4 Celsius or something. -3, -4.
I'll make the translation for all, the rest of the world that
the rest of the world.
Something that makes
who uses the wrong temperature.
-7. Okay, I was close.
-7 Celsius. Yeah, that's below freezing temperature. That's very close.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So -7, 19 degrees Fahrenheit, and by the end of the week, it was 67 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that equates to in Celsius. Probably something like 28 or something. I don't know.
62. You said
67. Fahrenheit, yeah. So yeah, we were bundled up in heavy jackets. 19. Okay, yeah, heavy jackets.
That's like British.
I was in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's Dutch summer as well.
Yeah, and that was just in the course of 1 week from that extreme to the other. And so the first day and the next day we got a little snow. We got to watch it fall too. And then it all melted by the third day and it got warm. And so so it's fun, those extremes, to see those. The problem is, though, I got sick 5 days before we left and I was terrified. Oh no, do I have COVID? So I got tested for COVID and the flu, and I was negative on both the home test, and I went to the hospital and got tested. But, oh man, we were talking about how some people are sicker than others when you get sick. So it was a really bad cold. And the first 2 days we were in Nashville, I was pretty miserable. It was like the nose was leaking. Tissue everywhere. As I blow my nose, everybody's looking at me. Oh my God, is he sick with COVID or something?
I have a terrible term for that might be too much for the podcast.
Maybe after
we're all thinking it.
Oh no, I call that the nose tampon when you
Oh yeah, before we left, it was running so bad while I was sleeping. Both nostrils I stuffed with tissue because you're like, you can't sleep. It's running all over your face. So what are you gonna do, right?
Oh gosh, I'm visually minded, and I'm not gonna lose this vision for a long time.
So now we need a special edition of that new Jiroc design T-shirt
with the nose tissue sticking out.
Even the business,
I would definitely buy that one.
And it has to just say Viking nose tampon or something, or tissue. Yeah. So, so of course I enjoyed many beverages every day, but the first 2 days, it really helps when you're sick if you're a little loopy because it doesn't bother you as much, right? But one of the, I don't know if you guys have ever been to Nashville or ever what you've heard about it, but it's, it's like called like the music capital of the world. And everywhere they have music, every hotel, they have live bands playing, every restaurant, every bar, even when you get out of the downtown area and you go out, everybody has live music. So it's like everywhere you go, you get like a free concert everywhere you go. So like, that's what I did. We just went and, after doing some shopping and sightseeing during the day, our evenings were all just free concerts everywhere. Of course, they're all artists and they got their tip buckets out. So it's not really free if you like to support them, which I did. But yeah, it's fun. Plus you can request songs, which is a lot of fun. Do you guys like live music when you go out?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love live music. I think that's one of the things that I missed the most during the pandemic when it was lockdown and you couldn't really go out to hear live music or any sort of live shows. But I love those kind of places, like cities where you just walk around, you wander in a bar or in a place and there's just some local artist playing and you're like, it's nice, better than just loud music playing in the background from whatever playlist. And I know Nashville. I have heard of Nashville mostly for it's famous for its country music, right? It's like the birthplace of country music or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they definitely play all kinds of music because a lot of music has its roots in the old country styles and honky tonk and bluegrass.
I bet there's a lot of blues as well, right? Because I feel like country and rock are kind of derived from blues and jazz, and like a lot of musical of those genres kind of come back to the similar roots. So a place I would love to go is New Orleans for the jazz music.
We actually
it seems to be a very similar. Yeah,
we considered going there before Nashville, and I looked at a lot of the places to see and sites to see, and then I found on my list we started considering Nashville. So I started considering the types of music between the two and the types of food between the two, and Nashville won out in every way. So I was like, I want Nashville food and I want Nashville music.
What is Nashville food?
So they have this thing called Nashville hot chicken. It's a kind of like a deep fried chicken, and it's made hot, but not like the buffalo wing sauce, which a lot of people are familiar. It's more of like a paprika hot flavor. It's kind of interesting. I should look up the recipe. I'd like to try to make it at some point, but yeah, we had that many times when we were down there, and they have all different levels of heat for you to experiment with. So I got the top 3. I love super hot food. I always eat it. And I got the 3 hottest. I was like the 3 hottest, and I remember the young lady at the counter was like, "Are you sure you want that one?" Because I think it was called. Radio. they had like hot. Like some really, really hot label. And then the last one was "Get the Cluck Out."
Oh gosh.
That was the laid name for the hottest one. So I was like, all 3. So I start with the first one. I go through. I was like, oh, that's got a pretty good kick to it. The thing about it is it builds up. If you eat spicy food, the first bite is never as hot as like the 10th bite, because that capsaicin starts to build up on your tongue, because it's the capsaicin where all the heat comes from. So I eat the first one. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Eat the second one. Starting to sweat a little bit. And by the third one, I was like, whoo. I think I drank like 4 waters while I was there, and then had to
water's the worst plan.
But just ice. But just letting the ice sit there, so the few seconds while the ice is there, and the water, it feels good. But then as soon as you swallow the water, your mouth is on fire again. But
you need to take sugar for the hot stuff.
Does that help you?
Milk or bread?
No, I was in Sri Lanka for over a month doing volunteer work, and they like really spicy food as well. And all their desserts are really sweet, just because it will temper the hot feeling in your mouth.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Morning.
I was going to say spice, especially capsaicin, that sort of thing. Capsaicin is oil based.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to take things after that will interact with the oil.
Yeah.
So
kind of pull it away.
You want to pull it away. So cream or, any sort of like milk, anything like that, are going to be much more effective than hydrophilic compounds.
Well, yeah, the water and the ice, it just makes it feel good for the moment while you're holding it in your mouth. But when it's that hot, you're just going for anything that'll give you a few seconds of relief. It's funny. They put everything. Yeah. Some people, they're like wiping a napkin trying to get it off. You saw that. But they put it on a piece of white bread, which is funny because I'm like, I'm not eating that white bread. It's soaked in the sauce. My mouth is already on fire. But they did give us like a little thing of ranch and blue cheese and, kind of use that a little bit to help. So it's fun. I always go for really hot food at our local Indian restaurant. I always tell them, give me that 9 out of 10. I've said 10 a few times, and I know the guy who owns the place. Because I've been eating there for like 10 or 12 years, and so he's like, I think he just just to be funny, he makes it too hot when I say that I wanted it really, really hot. Like he's testing me. I was like, okay, don't do it like that next time. Just a step down from that. But some of my favorite places in Nashville were the Country Western Hall of Fame. It's just a giant museum where you learn all about where country music came from and its roots, and lots of artists throughout the ages from long time ago till current ones. The Johnny Cash Museum, of course, everybody knows Johnny Cash.
Yes.
Then an hour and a half out of town, in the middle of nowhere, in a little town called Lynchburg, was a Jack Daniel's distillery, and every single drop of Jack Daniel's whiskey that's made is made right there in Lynchburg. It's not made anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. So they took us out there on a tour. We took a tour bus out there. The only problem with taking the tour bus is there's the little town of Lynchburg right there, which is it's a dry town, which means, they don't allow people to sell alcohol for consumption there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's a joke, but the Jack Daniel's tour guide told us, so in order for us to get around the fact that this is a dry town, we only sell souvenir bottles, and the whiskey inside is free. I got a couple of souvenir bottles. Ones you could only get at the distillery. It's fascinating to see how it's made and everything, but and then one of the most famous music halls in the world is where they do the Grand Ole Opry. And that term Grand Ole Opry is it's supposed to say Grand Old Opera. But of course, back in the day with their accent, I say, we're going down to the Grand Ole Opry. So they named it the Grand Ole Opry. And we saw a concert there. It was great. They had several musicians come in, some, up and coming, some who are pretty, fairly famous. And then they even had a one comedy act, which was super, super funny. Let's see. There's a place called the FGL House Restaurant. It's a Florida Georgia line band. One of the best venues for restaurant and live music if you go there. Hattie B's Hot Chicken. It's where it's a famous hot chicken restaurant, but it's more of like a lunch place, not like a proper sit down like restaurant where you get served like the FGL House that I previously mentioned. And then if you're really into like rocking your socks off at like a nightclub, Kid Rock's bar. It's 2 stories. The top story looks down to the bottom story. There's a stage on one side and a circular bar in the middle. And some of the band performers would jump into the crowd and be carried to the bar and then dance on the bar. And like one of the female performers, like got down on her knees and bent back, and everybody was pouring beer on her, and it was crazy, crazy nightclub environment. We had so much fun there that we went twice, and those were rough nights getting back to the hotel both times.
Man, you partied hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you did have a big birthday to celebrate, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's fair.
You only turned 21 once.
Exactly.
And then probably one of our favorite small venues was the AJ's Good Time Bar. Alan Jackson, the country singer, has his own little bar right there on the Broadway Strip. And it was just a really nice, cozy environment with live bands. And it was, so if you're looking for just like a quieter little place to just enjoy some drinks, a little bit of like a little area to do like little dancing with your significant other or whoever. That was one of our favorites. So anybody ever want to go to, I want to go back, but there's so many great places to visit in the US and around the world that I don't know if we'll get back to Nashville, but maybe if one of my friends wants to go, I'll say, hey, I'll go with you. But as I mentioned, I got this new hat, but I got 4 new hats. 4, yeah. And I think my shield, 4 hats, yes, in just Nashville.
That's your 4 next week sorted. It's fine.
Next month.
I've got many hats left, and I need to make hats.
There you go.
For reenactment, so I'm gonna probably be wearing a couple of those like medieval hats at some point. And I've got a helm as well. I bought myself a helmet a month and a half ago. So I might do a podcast episode just wearing a helm for no reason.
Brilliant.
It's actually it works for Viking period as well. It's like late. It's supposed to be 12th century, but I think it could pass for like a late Viking age one. So I could go full Viking at some point.
like a Christian age Viking, right?
yeah, like 10th, 11th century Viking, maybe.
Cool. Can't wait to see what you have there. Let's see. So with my YouTube channel, so in the last podcast, which I did by myself in a noisy hotel rooftop in cold weather, I mentioned, that I'm looking at doing some new things this year. Looks like I may start a second channel, doing some different types of content. But on my main channel, I want to start offering like real high value videos for people, for the players. And one of them I want to do is just like lots of tips and tricks, small, short videos with tips and tricks. People seem to respond really well to those, and they're helpful. Plus, I love learning these new tips and tricks, whether, I learned them myself or from other players. So I'm asking people to send in tips and tricks that they have. I actually started a brand new public tips and trick channel on the Discord, even though I know we've been trying to minimize channels.
I saw that. I was like, Jiroc, what did you do?
I could hear you thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to probably do posts like on Twitter and my YouTube to try to get people to submit, because I can only think of so many. And I know everybody out there has fun ones that they just do in every day now, because it's become part of your Valheim play. So if you can think of those things that people, that you've learned throughout the game that other people might benefit from. Because I still get lots of questions of people asking my YouTube channel, like even some basic things about the game. So I'm sure they don't know the more advanced tips and tricks. And I know all of you out there probably know lots of them. But that said, a new segment I'd like to add for this year, maybe starting next week, if you guys think about it, is a tips and tricks segment that you guys share. Just one tips or trick thing that you do. And it could be something simple. Could be like a starter tip when you first land in a new world. They could be biome specific, anything to do with crafting, decorating, fighting, building, anything. Just pick one for the week and share it. And, then we add that value to the podcast for people who are listening.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe I can make, videos on individual tips and tricks. Because I see people mention things and I think, oh, yeah, that's right. There's that thing. I should make a video about that. Like I just put the new channel on Discord this morning and someone's already put some tips and tricks in there. So if you're listening to the podcast, feel free to stop by our Discord, or, you could post in that channel, or you could send me just comment on YouTube here.
Yeah. Comments on the podcast and YouTube always help the
algorithm.
That.
In fact, maybe we should start a thing where we need to incite people to comment on our lovely hats, because we put so much effort, don't we, Jiroc, you and I, every week changing hats. Or maybe we do a thing where at some point during the episode we remove our hats and people need to put the timestamp of when it happened.
Oh, yeah. I was actually thinking about that.
Mini game. Yeah.
Or if we do a hat swap at some point. Yeah. And, I like handing out, free access to the server without being a supporter.
Yeah.
So we'll have to find ways to do that. I'd like to build like a little carrot into each episode, maybe, where we can announce if you mention this in the comments, then you can get on the server for a month. That would be fun, because the few times we've done it, somebody's always responded and answered the question. But let's see. So right before I went on holiday, I was just inspired by some YouTube comments that I had, but I made some new merch. And
yes, oh my God, Jiroc, you have my new favorite thing on there.
So, of course, rule number 1 in my server community is to remember to always be kind. A lot of times we have disagreements, even between admins have disagreements, players, you have a big, large community. I just try to remember everybody, whatever you have to say, just remember to be kind, and you'll be able to hopefully reciprocate that kindness. And so of course I found a really cool kind of a sketch graphic of a bee on this service that I pay for graphics. And I thought, I want to make that one. Rule number 1, be kind t-shirt. Right. This is the most important rule about our community, right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Then somebody suggested that I make the bees are happy shirt out of that graphic. So I did. So there you go. The bees are happy. And yeah, you can't quite tell in this picture exactly, but this graphic is really cool in detail and the way it's sketched out. I really liked it. That's why I used it. You can kind of get a little hint of it there. And then we have chickens, right?
Yes. That's my favorite.
Look at that one.
I saw this when I was watching one of your videos lately, and I'm like, I love it. I love it so much.
And it has the same.
Loves You is the best.
Let's see. I can show that Dear Loves You one that you're talking about right here.
Oh yeah, the Dear Loves You is cute.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is pretty popular. This one I think might be right in number of sales. It might be right behind the Boar Loves You shirt.
Nice.
That one is awesome, cute as well.
Yeah, that was my first one in the series. This one here, the Boar Loves You.
I love that one.
The cutest. That's the cutest.
Just so cute, looking over his little fence. Hey, I love you.
I'm still missing some child shirts.
Nice.
Yeah, because I want to buy the business, giving the business for my twins.
So
give everything the business.
What I realized is that I added toddler sizes, but that's probably too small. You're probably talking about the child size, and they have that option. So I'll go back through and I'll add those in there.
There you go.
Thanks for the reminder.
Yes. I will give you a photo when they wear it.
Yeah. So yeah, that one. And again, it has that kind of like a nice little illustrative style to it. So that's why I chose that one. And then my new favorite one, I think I uploaded this right before I left to catch my flight, was the Skeleton Loves You.
Oh my gosh.
Because we can have skeleton pets now.
Yes.
You can summon them.
I'm definitely going to get that one for Halloween.
Did you hear the disturbing sounds they make when you actually pet them?
What?
Oh, what sound do they make?
It's really disturbing. Yeah, I cannot even know. You have to try it.
I've done it, but now I don't remember exactly what it was.
It's disturbing. Yeah.
So.
But the shirt is really cute.
Yeah, I showed that to my shield mate, and I always show her to see what she thinks, and she saw this and she says, "Oh, that's cute." She says, "But is it an alien skeleton because of its head shape?"
Yeah, the head shape.
And I'm like, "Oh no, it looks cute. It can be whatever you want it to be."
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah,
there are spaceships in the code.
There are. So yeah, that's some new merch. That's and I'm considering the 95% of all t-shirts that are sold, according to the statistics from a few years back when I was looking into selling merch and all that stuff, is black. So black t-shirts take 95% of the market. It's a poll done across like Amazon and other websites too. For some reason, most people like black. But I'm thinking about adding one other color, and I'm thinking about adding red. I have to see how the graphics look on red. I don't know. I have to try it. Oh, but do you guys have any?
White?
Do you wear a lot of white t-shirts, Gwen?
Well, I have a lot of black t-shirts, and I don't know if I would want to buy yet another black, but white, I don't know. It depends where you are in the world and the kind of weather and so on.
Well, black kind of matches everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with white, but yeah, I don't wear a lot of white as well.
White has the problem of being see-through. And as a woman,
it's terrible. For women, it's terrible. For guys, though, in the summer. Mm-hmm. But then, most guys would probably prefer black, I guess. I mean, 95% would go black.
That's what the statistics say. I'll probably look to see what the statistics say are like the next two colors and maybe add two colors. But never offer more than 3 or 4 colors, because then people get, what do they call it? I forget exactly the term, but it's like they freeze and they don't know. Fear of missing out. Like your fear of missing out. You're like, I like that color, but I like that color too. And I like that color. I don't know which one to get, so I'm not going to get any of them.
Right.
So maybe the only dark blue.
Yeah, I was going to say blue is another popular color.
Yeah. The problem with red is with the graphics that you have with the pinks and the mushrooms.
Yeah. I would have to tweak the graphics specifically for those shirts.
Yeah.
So I love red shirts myself. I have a few. One of my favorites is an Imagine Dragons concert t-shirt that I have. It's bright red. It looks really cool.
Nice.
But, I'm always one of those who prefers to wear a little bit of color if it fits. I have a lot of black too, just like 95% of people who like to get the black ones. But and then so you guys also, I have the standard t-shirt, a women's flowy tank top, which is my Shield Maiden's favorite version of the shirt, of a tank top. It's this one here. She has quite a few of these because I'll make a design and she'll say, "Oh, that's cute. I want one."
Yeah, with those tank tops, you have to have a special kind of bra, though. You have to have a racerback bra.
Right. Yeah, because the straps will come down the back there. Yep. Unless you're wearing a black bra, I guess it might be okay. Yeah, if you want to hide it. Yeah. But yeah, so anyways.
Bundy's just laughing her ass off over there.
How do we get from tank
That's
tops
what
to
you
bras?
get.
Yeah.
That's what you get. When you do a Podheim episode with just the ladies, just the cheerleaders. That's what you get. I mean, but also you're the one bringing up the fashion, you know advice.
You know what? Though, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you have people listening to the podcast and they're just listening because they can't watch the video, you gotta give descriptions and you gotta do engagement. Come on now. I'm just wondering.
And you're so right, but yeah, you got me at the see-through with the white. I think, well, for a lot of men, that's not going to be a problem. So you started it there. Sorry. I'll shut up now.
Just blame me, Bambi. It's okay.
Well, we'll get off of the merch topic and the fashion.
Podheim fashion unit.
Sorry, Jiroc, the filter's just not on today. I apologize.
Oh, it's a new year. We do what we want.
Yeah. I'm wearing a crown, pretending to be a princess. We do whatever we want.
Yes.
Exactly. So I wanted to do a little recap of 2022 for Valheim. Nice. And I'd like to start with Valheim news. So lots of people in Reddit, on my YouTube channel, sometimes in Discord and other places, Twitter, they'll, especially if Iron Gate posts something, you'll see comments come up, not all, but every once in a while I see comments come up that say it'd be, something like, Iron Gate hasn't done much in the last year before Mistlands came out. Like it took them 2 years to release Mistlands. The game's never going to be finished, or it won't be finished till 2030 or something like that. And it's just not true. They've done lots of things. They've done small patches to fix things. And they've done lots of different little content patches. So there's lots of things always going on over there. And, I talk to them regularly and they come on the podcast and they tell us what they're up to. And they're a busy bunch. They're over there working hard. It's a small team that's growing, but little by little. I think though they have like 10 or 12 people now.
14.
14. There you go. Yeah, because I think they recently hired a few months back two more people, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I know this because I'm still working on the Christmas presents for the team.
Aww.
Cool. Yeah, so last year, they started the year off with a content patch, and then they moved on to the Frost Caves.
Yeah,
the Frost Caves was a huge update. How can anybody say that? Say a couple of little tiny updates,
and they are amazing.
I mean,
I think it's my favorite update.
Yeah,
more than Mistlands.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Tell us why.
Because I haven't seen much of the Mistlands yet.
Oh, okay.
The Frost Cave. I think the Frost Cave for me was really it. It was such a step up, and it really gave direction for all future updates. In terms of the atmosphere and the type of content that they added. That to me, it set the tone for the next updates.
Well, so the Frost Caves were an entire dungeon added to a biome that didn't have them before.
Yeah.
And what kind of update? They're not the same anytime I enter one. It's always different.
Right. Well, yeah, so they have do you guys know exactly how many iterations of different rooms that they've got for those?
No.
I want to say
there's quite a few different rooms and hallways and things, and
close to 30 or something. I don't know. It's, but yeah, so you've got, almost infinite level of different kind of caves that you can spawn in. And what's really interesting is that, just a point of interest, the Mistlands dungeons are modeled off the what they did with the Frost Caves.
I thought that I kind of felt that way because they used the Mistlands dungeons, because I finally went in one recently.
Yay.
And it did feel a lot like the Frost Caves because it was on multiple levels, and you have the hidden walls or doors that you have to open. Yeah, to me it reminded me a lot of the Frost Caves. But the Frost Caves were the first iterations of those kind of really complex dungeons that they added into the game, which is why for me it was the most, maybe not my favorite, but the most impactful content update of last year.
Very dynamic.
Yeah, and with the Mistlands, they added even more new caves.
Yeah.
More frost caves. Yeah.
Do you think there are even more new rooms and hallways
there are.
that can connect together?
Of them already.
Oh.
Ones with little ponds with fishes in it. Fish, sorry.
Oh.
Fish.
Well, so there
I'll have to do a video on that.
There were caves
you can come and
that
visit.
had the lake, but you're saying they've added rooms with like ponds? Because I know that they hadn't added the fish yet. Then they finally added the fish to the frost cave.
They add fish to the frost cave, and even the ones with the unfrozen lake, they have fish now in it. I believe they actually have a lot of different kind of fish now. And in the frost cave, there is just with the unfrozen lake, there's one kind you can not catch anywhere else. With the unfrozen
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a rare fish that's only in the cave.
Yeah, but they added more caves to with the Mistlands update now.
For the frost cave, you're not saying for the Mistlands dungeons, but for the frost cave.
Yeah, for the frost cave.
Oh, okay.
The Rings of the Mist actually have one with a pond in it.
Interesting.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing, just to clarify, is you're saying that you believe that they have added more room iterations to the generation of the frost caves.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to take a look at and spawn in some new ones and see and test that theory. But yeah, because they have so many different rooms and hallways, and they generate randomly together, there can be almost an infinite combination of different types of frost cave dungeons. So that system is amazing. I love that about the world generation, and that they use it for their dungeons too, because there's no two dungeons and no two worlds that are the same, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was the big update that came in March. Then they had a couple of patches, and let's see, they have won. They won some more awards. Best debut category in GDCA Audience Awards. So it's nice to see them winning awards. Another patch to fix things. And then in April is right around the time they first started teasing the Mistlands, and we got the ruins. I think there's a link to a YouTube video here.
Yeah.
But I just remember that being super exciting when they started showing the teasers of the ruins and the new black marble. And I have to say, now that Mistlands is out there, I am definitely, it lived up to my expectations. It's really cool, all the stuff that you can find in the Mistlands.
Yeah.
Even better.
More teasing of the Forge, which we have. Patch. And then Midsummer. So a small content patch, some new banners, and the Midsummer, what do they call it?
Flower crown.
The flower crown.
Yeah. I have to say that I really loved this this content update. I loved that there's Gwen's flower crown, but she's got everything at her fingertips. Look at that.
Yes.
Having those extra colored banners, I know it doesn't really add a whole lot to the game, but I thought that this was such a beautiful and brilliant addition. This one made me really happy.
What it made me happy for is that they completed the rainbow, so we just on time for Pride Month, so that we could celebrate Pride Month with a rainbow. And I was really happy about that.
Yep, new colors to the banners. That's fun. A lot of people wish that we could dye things the color that we want, so we could do what we want. But at least they've given us more colors, so that's fun. And then they teased the fish back then for the Mistlands, and the Forge got built. And then there were some spoilery images with the tick there. Gwen's favorite new pet added to the game.
And the two-handed longsword.
Yeah. And of course, Build of the Month stuff. And let's see, hungry for a snack. That's when they started teasing us with Mistlands new foods. And a patch and a patch.
I think right around there, some of those patches were the fixes that they did to the cloud save and also the crossplay as well. So like we're talking a lot about the content stuff, but they did release a lot of patches that were a bit more technical.
Yeah.
Either to stabilize the game or to like add things like crossplay, which is quite a big thing.
Yeah, and people underestimate, like, these technical things take a lot of work. You know, the content patches are technical for them. It's content for us, but it's technical for them. And then the other technical stuff, like if things aren't working the way they're supposed to, people are going to complain again. But then if they fix that and don't put their time towards content, people complain that they're not getting enough content. So it's like, well, hold on. They got to fix stuff too and make content, and they got to do both. And they're working on it. Let's see, as we go through this, yep, they got news patchments, see fix issues caused with crashes and world resets. That they did that. And then of course they tease the feather cape, which I believe Gwen won the bet on the feather cape.
Give me my ice cream.
Yeah, so if you were interested in hearing that bet and how it went down right around September, when this patch came out on September 13th, we did a podcast shortly after that where we talked about that cape and some other stuff. Let's see, was there anything else in that patch that was really interesting?
She predicted it a long time before that, by the way.
Yep, like I think way before even Mistlands was discussed. I was talking about it would be nice to have a feather cape.
Yes,
I'm still convinced that half the Iron Gate team listens to this podcast and basically takes note of all our ideas and suggestions and things that we'd like to see changed, because it seems like a lot of things that we have mentioned over time have appeared somehow.
Yeah. I like to think that they listen once in a while, and or maybe it's just great minds think alike. I don't know.
We are making the content.
But yeah, they teased some of the stuff that were coming in the Mistlands, like these new cores that we have here, the hairstyles. So Gwen, you made a new character for No Map, your No Map adventures. Yes. Did you go with one of the new hairstyles or beards or anything?
Of course, yeah. I went with I went with a new hairstyle and female character, so no beard. I was
no beard, yeah.
Slightly disappointed, I must admit. I think I mentioned it when I was creating my character and streaming. I thought that with the new hair and beard changes that they would allow female characters to also have beards, but they didn't. So hopefully at some point they will, because why not? It would be fun. And I used one of the new hairstyles. Yeah. One of the long hair ones, because I wanted to make a character that, I don't know, I always make characters that look like me for some reason. It just feels wrong to pick a character that looks totally different. I don't know why.
I have made characters. It sort of depends on the game. Like sometimes I just feel like I want it to look like me, and other times I'll do like something really drastically different. But yeah, for Valheim, when they had that giant glorious beard, I'm like, ooh, I want that giant glorious beard, and it's got to be bright orange, like my hair would have been when I was younger. Except I couldn't grow a beard like this when I was younger. So yeah, I didn't make a new character with a new hairstyle, because none of the new beards are as fantastic as that really giant beard.
They added loads of because I was looking through because I was curious, and they added loads of much shorter beards. I feel like.
Yeah.
I was hoping for one other big giant glorious beard, so I'm gonna have to maybe hit up Robin or something. Hey, can you design another giant beard so I can have some variety? Yeah, there's that feather cape again, and some build of the month stuff. And that's in September. So another patch. Crossplay. There. Gwen was talking about some crossplay stuff that was going down, which caused some server issues too, because of that stuff that was going on. But then lots of patches after that. Patch. And Mistlands finally launched in November.
Yeah.
Just on time for Thanksgiving. Another prediction I got right.
Yeah.
I was the first to make that prediction. Thank you very much. You just agreed with me.
Yeah, I think we picked up on the turkey dinner thing, didn't we? That was posted on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the test version, and then it came out after.
Well, it launched, it dropped.
Yeah. When was the exact date? Oh, December 6th.
December is when it.
December 6th. Yeah.
So about 2 weeks after.
That was in the public test branch for a very short period of time compared to what I was expecting. But it went really well. But
I was just at work, and then I got a message from Gorth. Bambi, Mistlands just launched. No, come on. There was no announcement whatsoever. So that's why I say they didn't launch it. They dropped it.
Yeah.
But
Wow. Well, and we had Jonathan on after the test version was launched, and we talked about that, how like there are no like real big major issues that came up. A couple of small things that they tweaked, so they were able to get it launched in time for the holidays and everybody's holiday vacations, so that they could enjoy their time off in Valheim if they wanted to, or bring in family members and force them to play and die in Valheim, right, Gwen?
Yes.
Well, it's funny that stream that you did with your sister. Was it just the one so far with her?
Yeah, just the one, but she might be back by popular demand.
Hey,
mostly because we need to kill bone mass.
Yeah,
because I don't want to leave it defeated.
So when I was in Tennessee on this last Saturday, we were just walking around. We had to catch our plane later in the day. I think it was around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So we had the whole day to walk around. So we went around, did some shopping and whatnot. But while we were just walking around, I had one earbud in, and I was listening to your stream. It's just to hear how it goes. And I looked at the screen a couple of times, but I was mostly just listening, and it was fun. Is Valheim something she might play again, like in the future on her own, or just for fun with you once in a while?
Probably just. So I bought her Valheim a year ago because I was so desperate to play a game with her, and obviously Valheim is the main game I play, so I tried to convince her. I was like, oh, you'll probably like it, because she likes Don't Starve together, so a similar type of like survival co-op game. So I was like, well, you probably will like Valheim. It's quite fun. So I tried to get her into it. So I bought it for her a year ago, and she's only ever played it with me. Basically, me just begging her to find some time to play with me. It's been fun every time, and she said she might be up for a couple more times, just so that we can get through to that. Because I was telling her like Mistlands is a big deal. There's so much new content, and it's worth it. So I'll try to push her to at least complete part of that playthrough up to the Mistlands.
Let me know if you need any support in encouraging her.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I had to stop for a while, because I was like almost every week messaging her saying, "Hey, I want to play Valheim. When are you playing Valheim with me, please?" Yeah, because she was busy with other stuff. But yeah, hopefully get to play with her a bit more.
I feel like that when I'm asking my husband to play with me, so I get it.
Well, I wanted to say too that you two are a great duo together. As you were saying, how you go back to your childhood and you act like goofy, like in your childhood, because you guys have a lot of like, memories together and, goofing off and teasing each other and all that stuff. And a little bit of that comes out in your play that you wouldn't get if with somebody who you don't know as well. So that's fun to listen to two people or even a group of people. Like one of my favorite science podcasts, The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. These people have known each other for like 30 years. So you get all that little fighting, poking, jokes, all the little fun stuff that they're calling back from. And so listening to that, also, I thought it was funny when, or fun to listen to when the two of you slipped into your French, I can't even do it. Your French accent's really thick and strong.
French accent like this, when we exaggerate so much.
Yes.
It was so good.
that was funny.
The funny thing is, obviously our accent.
Hey, everybody. That was just the first half of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to listen to the full podcast, which should be about twice as long as what you've just heard, you can gain access to it as a Patreon supporter, and you can support me for as low as $2.99 per month and gain access to the full podcast each week. You'll barely notice that amount, but if enough people do it, it'll really help to supplement my income as a content creator. I hope you consider supporting me, and if for any reason you're unable to support me on Patreon, you can also use my PayPal donation link or the YouTube join button. Thank you. Your support really means a lot to me. Skål.